Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Maggie and I upload videos on lifestyle, beauty, and fashion. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then please don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. As you can probably tell by the look of this video, I'm going to be doing a Jack Skellington look. If you don't know who Jack Skellington is, then you should probably be watching The Nightmare Before Christmas because it's one of the best Halloween movies out there and it's one of the most famous Tim Burton movies as well. Now I'm making this look to be very beginner friendly, so it should be fairly easy to follow along. Here I'm basically just explaining that I am wearing a wig cap because I'm going to be putting on a bald cap and going all in with my Jack Skellington look in order to make my head look like a skull. And I also purchased this spirit gum to glue down the bald cap to my face. So basically, before applying the bald cap, I decided to block off my eyebrows first using Elmer's glue. Alright guys, so if you've seen my previous Halloween video from last year, you probably have already seen me block out my brows, but I did do it a little bit differently this time. So I did start off the same with the Elmer's glue, just making sure that I get in between all those hairs and brush them up, really try to stick them to my skin as much as possible. Basically, I did 4 different rounds of this. Like, you have to make sure that you let the glue dry as much as possible in between each round, which is why you're gonna see me fanning my eyebrows a lot. So here I'm up to my 2nd round. I just let it dry. I go through the 3rd round and so forth. Once I go through all rounds and I let them dry, then I use a baby wipe just to wipe around my eyebrows any excess glue so that my face is not sticky. Here I'm going in with an old orange blush that I have. So I'm basically using the concept of color correcting, but instead of under my eyes, I'm color correcting my eyebrows since they're so dark. So I went in with the orange, that way when I would go in later on with the concealer, it would basically block them out much better. Now I'm going in with my Nyx Concealer Palette and I'm using a concealer brush that's pretty much just a flat brush, and I'm using the shade that's the closest to my skin tone. So I basically want my eyebrow area to blend in with the rest of my face. I don't really want to like highlight it or anything, so instead of going with a lighter color, I went in with the closest to my skin tone that I basically had. So once I applied the product to both sides, I went in with a blending concealer brush and I just blended that into my skin. I tried to avoid touching like the middle area because I didn't want to risk moving my eyebrow hairs around. I just blended around the perimeter. Now I'm going in with a Bare Minerals foundation powder that I have. It's a little lighter, but I just wanted something to kind of get the shine off of my forehead or eyebrow area. So I used my beauty sponge and I used that foundation powder. And then I went in with a setting powder just to set everything in place, so hopefully nothing would move out of place. So I wouldn't say this was my best work, but still a learning progress. Now I'm going in and applying my bald cap. It was my first time applying a bald cap, so it was a bit of a struggle, but if I can do it, anyone can do it, because like I said, this look is going to be very beginner friendly and it's really just about making sure you get the right size bald cap, because I feel like mine was a little too small, or maybe I have too much hair and it was just hard for me to stick it down. So as you can see, I'm going around the perimeter of my face and I'm just using the spirit gum, which is also very sticky by the way guys, so keep that in mind. And I basically just glued down the perimeter. Here I am going with my water activated face and body paint. I'm only using the black and white colors on this because that's all I needed for this look. And yes, it is activated by adding water to it, so you can either spray water onto the actual paint or you can spray water onto your brush, whatever you prefer. But I did decide to use this paint instead of the oil-based one that I used last year because I was a little annoyed that the oil one kind of spreads, and if you touch your face it kind of, you know, it's easy to mess up basically. So I went with a more dry formula, which was this water paint. And as you can see here, I just used a really fine brush, and with the white color I went around the perimeter of my face and I drew basically the circle that is Jack Skellington's head shape, and then I did like a rough draft outline of what his eye shape is, and you will also see me do the rough outline of what his nose shape is. And it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. There will be plenty of opportunity to fix any mistakes when you are basically coloring in, which is what I'm doing right now. I am just coloring in Jack Skellington's face, which is mostly white, and as you can see, the paint is actually very kind of like transparent, so you do have to do multiple layers in order to get like that really thick white look. Now looking back, I definitely could have done at least one more layer to make it more opaque, but it's fine. I did set it with the white baby powder just to, you know, I didn't really have to do this part, but I just felt like it was doing something, so I set it with it. And then I went in with, again, the fine brush and drew in his eyes again. I tried to go for like that angry shape that he has sometimes when he, you know, he makes facial expressions. It was a little bit harder. Next time I definitely would have probably just done the basic circles for his eyes, which would have been much easier. Once I finished coloring in the eyes, I went in and also did the nose. I tried to make the nose higher up because he does have his nose very close to his eyes. And then I went in and drew the mouth. I was a little bit off camera here when drawing the mouth, which I did not realize. I apologize for that. But I basically just did a straight line across my mouth area, elongating it obviously more than my regular mouth. And then I drew a bunch of lines vertically going up and down all across my face. So you can see better here how I did, and I filled in the lip area more black. Then I went back in with the white color and I basically drew the neck. Jack Skellington is very skinny and obviously has a very skinny neck, so I basically just replicated that on my neck and I elongated it with the white paint. This part is optional. I just went in and redefined Jack Skellington's face shape by going in with the black all around. What you can do, especially if you're trying to use this as an in-person, you know, costume, is that I would paint the head white instead. For the purposes of this video, I just went ahead and painted it black, and then I painted most of my neck and chest black just to kind of black out the rest of my skin so that you can only see the neck. Then I went into my James Charles palette and I used the black eyeshadow just to set any black areas. Like I said, this part is not really necessary when using a water activated color paint, but I just felt like just in case I would do it. And then I used that same black shadow just to add in some shadows around the eyebrow areas and like the mouth area, just to add some definition, make it look less flat. You know, you can just go in the areas that you think shadow is needed. I went based off of that. Here you can see me also adding in some shadow onto the neck area. He is basically a skeleton, so there is supposed to be that space, and that's what the black shadow kind of represents. Now, if you didn't notice before, I did make the eye area a little too small. Every time I closed my eyes, you were actually seeing my eyelashes. So I had to go in at the end and just elongate and make the eye area a little bit bigger so that my eyelashes were fully covered and not shown on the white part.